Hello, and welcome to my GNED 1403 online communities presentation. At the beginning of the term, I joined an online Aikido community, but I have been a part of Aikido for most of my life, for over 13 years. This Aikido forum is comprised of a mixed gender of people from all ages, ethnicities, walks of life, and ranks. In this community, individuals share information about their personal experiences in Aikido, the methodology of various techniques, practices that pertain to their specific dojo, as well as upcoming events such as seminars. All posts in the community are based upon Aikido-related topics. Discussions, like the basic principles, are always respectful, patient, and harmonious. In Aikido, particularly in Japan where Aikido originates, the manji is an important symbol. It represents the fluidity of the universe, the foundation of life, and the interconnectedness of all things working together, striving for harmony and a peaceful state of mind. It is in this definition that the principles of Aikido are illuminated. In some dojos, aspects of the manji are built into the dojo crest to help keep these principles of Aikido in the hearts, minds, and spirits of all students within the dojo. Aikido literally translates to the way of harmonizing energy. Thus, practitioners of Aikido undergo a physical, mental, and spiritual journey. Values of respect, acceptance, tolerance, and doing no harm are held in high esteem as core principles that are ingrained into students. As one continues their journey in Aikido, these philosophies become a natural demeanor, at least while on the mat. It is essential for this internalization to occur. As the techniques advance, harm can and will come to all participants engaged in the techniques, as some are very dangerous to both the attacker, or uke, and the defender, or nage. In an online community, these values are translated in the way the interactions among the members' conversations are conducted, even when there is a disagreement. I do not believe that there is a moderator in the forum, as it is not required, as people do not use profanity or demean others. It is simply not the way of harmonizing energy. Aikido is a blended martial art created by Morihei Ueshiba that aims to use the energy of the attacker against him or her without inflicting harm upon them. Aikido is a peaceful martial art that is purely defensive, unlike karate or kendo, which can be aggressive or defensive. Aikido has roots in Buddhism and as such believes in being one with the universe. Thus, you are one with the attacker, and to harm them is to harm yourself. All movements and techniques of Aikido are designed around this belief. As such, each technique contains a natural fluidity about them whereby it is almost a ballroom dance move. In the practice of Aikido, it is essential that all act responsibly and respectfully towards others within the dojo, regardless of personal likes or dislikes of the individual outside of the dojo. It is most definitely possible to break an arm or dislocate one's shoulder, for example, if you are not abiding by the basic principle of respect. The online discussions follow suit and adhere to the principle, even though no physical harm can come to another in the discussions. Every effort is made to ensure no emotional harm occurs either. I think this is because the ideal of do no harm and respect for others becomes an internalized belief. The online Aikido community has explicit standards that mirror those of the actual practice area. Such standards are universal. There is an unstated expectation that compassion, tolerance, respect, acceptance, and humility be shown towards others while engaging in any dialogue in the community. To be more explicit, posts containing colorful language, abusive comments, or aggression are non-existent. The ability to share personal experiences, even embarrassing ones, means that a deeper connection is formed between members of the community. Often, these experiences can be related to by other group members who can offer solutions to the problem, such as the case of getting a toe caught in one's hakama. Further, these experiences help in the teachings of humility and compassion, which results in growth and support, not humiliation, for both individuals and permits a bond of a shared experience. The practice of such values helps ensure that every member feels communion, or a sense of belonging, and are more open to share information, which is important for the group's survival. Since these principles are designed to create caring, compassionate, and well-balanced human beings, the online community appears to be unmoderated, as it isn't needed because students have already absorbed these principles. This doesn't mean that there is absolutely no moderation whatsoever. It simply means that it is probably moderated by the dojo environment. It is for this reason that conflict rarely occurs. While it is possible for disputes to occur, especially in non-virtual environments, it is probably unlikely because of the peaceful nature of Aikido. This means that flexibility is nurtured while aggression and hostility is frowned upon. I know from my experience as an Aikido practitioner that a dispute can occur. When it does occur, though, it is usually about less Aikido-related topics. This would indicate, along with lack of disputes, that a lot of the information discussed is about universal aspects of Aikido, such as proper ways of doing a certain technique. Strict principles such as showing respect and tolerance towards others at all times also decreases the possibility of conflict arising between members through the ability to express personal opinions and have others not second guess or criticize in any way. This ultimately ensures the group's survival as members get along more harmoniously, and thus everyone feels attachment to not only the group, but also to other members, as everyone feels unconditionally accepted. Unconditional acceptance also allows for the sharing of personal information, as one is not worried about being made fun of, as students are also taught humility, and thus this makes students less likely to make fun of others, as they have been taught to be compassionate towards others. This is why a lot of the posts in the community are additions to the original posts rather than corrections. Thus, the community is about the sharing of information not only about Aikido in general, but also about the various dojos it is taught in. Members tend to share information about how their dojo runs and or teaches Aikido with others, allowing for a greater understanding of how other parts of the country, continent, or world teaches Aikido. This information is communicated using jargon, as it is a lot easier to describe a concept using the terms in which it is taught in. This means that some Japanese terminology, such as uke and nage, is used to communicate ideas more effectively. One such example would be in the discussion of a certain technique. Instead of describing exactly how one does the technique, the name of that technique would be used instead, as it is a lot simpler to do. Often, jargon is used to exclude outsiders. In an Aikido community, however, this is not the case, as Aikido is about acceptance and tolerance of others. Instead, jargon is used in an Aikido community to more effectively communicate the idea that the poster is trying to discuss. Thus, members of an Aikido community are willing to teach the terms and concepts used in Aikido to outsiders, as long as these outsiders are willing to positively participate. Despite this willingness to include outsiders, the online Aikido community still has individuals ask permission to join the community in an attempt to ensure that only individuals who are interested in Aikido join the community. Thus, this Aikido community is not open to the public. It is a private community. This asking of permission to join the community is an attempt to create unity as opposed to an attempt to exclude others. Aikido communities are based upon the principles of showing respect, tolerance, and acceptance towards others, regardless of religion, ethnicity, or gender, which helps ensure that all members of the community feel included, and thus this creates unity of the whole. The use of jargon also helps to ensure a sense of communion, as one is able to comment on the posts of others without the fear of rejection. For example, There is a post where, in a college, the student wore a hakama from day one, and while sprinting to the water fountain during a break in class in the middle of the campus center, managed to catch a toe on the hem of the hakama, but unfortunately hadn't yet learned to roll at this point, and thus would have fallen flat out onto the floor, as they wouldn't have been able to respond appropriately. Rather than laughing, other members of the community shared in the experience, as some had also worn hakama themselves. In response, Katie Garden comments on how the student would have pancaked onto the floor, thus showing that she understood and had experienced something similar, as she would have known what would have happened. This experience sharing results in the creation of attachment between community members, as they were able to relate to one another. Jargon and language not only create harmony, solidarity, and attachment between members of the Google Plus Aikido community, but the ability to share experiences exclusively creates a spirit of community. The expectations of the group also help with interaction among individuals of a given community, as they are able to share experiences and customs under the air of complete acceptance. Thus, they feel a part of the fellowship of Aikido regardless of religion, ethnicity, and gender.